Good morning, I'm Jeff, and today the only monsters we're thinking about are the ones you keep in your pocket, of which there are aplenty in this episode. The crew plus Perrin is trudging along with Dot needing the most motivation. It made me think that of the kids, Dot really doesn't have a Growlithe in the Lucius fight. I feel like between Liko and Roy, Dot is sort of just along for the ride. But I mean, who wouldn't be if it was the brave Olivine? And they're low-key gonna need that bravery with the gaggle of wild mons that are waiting for them. Perrin shows off her detailed photo of Kleavor, and I feel like his face is kind of like a befuddled man, but I could be projecting. Perrin's got the photography on lock though, and her partial inspiration is Freed's work. If you'll recall, Dot had also been appreciative of Freed's discography before she joined the Volt Tacklers. So while searching, at one point Perrin did come across Kleavor, although for good reason she got the intimidation ick. From the small glimpses that we've gotten of Kleavor, it's sort of hard to tell what its temperament is. So far its main character trait is Stalker, which is a little ironic since that's what they're doing to it. And while doing so, Freed and Perrin get to discussing how the kids are evolving, a setup for what they'll each individually show us themselves. And I, for one, am excited to see just how competent they've become. So, someone's been busy, and at this point I just realized my brain only operates in callbacks. Roy and Crocalor end up in this cave and they just get sent off on their own? I guess, but I also wonder why they couldn't have used Florigato's flower bud to lift them out. Well, at least they'll get better sights on foot, including these lit carbinks, adding to that alkaline atmosphere. Now, there is a lot of jumping around this episode, which is good to keep the mind stimulated, Helgar to edit, and Houndour to edit, coupled with a new remix of the Wild theme. It's nice to hear Kanish's take on it, who seems to be really big on horns. Cap and Freed take charge as cover for the others, and there's sort of a sense of spook to watch them get split up. A sense of urgency as well to have Liko use herself as bait for Dot and Miss Midriff. These two get coupled up, but not before long a Trevenant gets a hold of them. Really builds great suspense for Kleavor to have all these obstacles to reach it. For real, the zombification trap is pretty creepy. Meanwhile, Liko comes across some gnashes in a tree, and from what she knows of Kleavor's taxonomy, that helps to inform her judgment. Before long, clumsy Quaxwell snaps out of his hypnosis and smacks some sense into the others. But Trevenant's still hovering, and even the forest is enclosing around them. It's Dot, though, who gives Perrin peace of mind with her battle advice. Like, yo, you got a fire type, right? How about that? So with a double effective strike, they whack the weeds. Back with Roy, him and the ever-hungry boy Croco come across a stream with some fruit. But fruit doesn't grow in caves. Probably, so that's a big clue for them, one that actually helps guide them out. They show off some real survival skills from Roy's wild days and are rewarded with a wild Pokemon battle. Shiftry and Mandibuzz have a pretty effective setup, and I love how Roy just steals it. He's got to ride Pokemon too, but for Crocalor. It's not a perfect sync, what with the static mishap, but it doesn't hinder them much. Hey, maybe paralyzed, but still powerful. Definitely enough so to ward off the threats. Much like Freed, who's overcome the Hounds, which we didn't get to see much of, but this episode isn't really Freed focused. So hey, Liko continues finding the claw marks and ponders the meaning behind them. Like, she's pretty locked in. Was Kleavor in a mood, feeling some type of way? A clever way to sense that out is with Hatrim, to feel out any strong emotions. Though Dot's got the benefit of a photo, and within it lies hints. Kleavor, of course, the special fauna, and even some rocks. Dot spreads the word and gives the others a place to rendezvous. For a moment though, Perrin seems to hesitate. I take it as admiration. She didn't know these kids before all this, but even still they've exceeded her expectations. That acquaints her observational skills to Freed and what she acquired with the Volt Tacklers. And you know some Dot wholesomeness is always welcome. Tarapago still has not a care in the world, but that could be about to change now that everyone's regrouped. The kids all use their keen observation and personal talents to reach the goal. And Freed, well, he hitched a ride on Ladysard, but still. What matters now is they're reunited and Kleavor's finally in sight. Well, maybe not just yet. Was a pretty to-the-point episode. Freed, right off the bat, plants the idea the trio's become more than meets the eye. They show that to us one by one in tangible ways. We know Dot studied Pokemon and ecosystems, so she should be equipped here. Even if use fire on tree isn't extraordinary, her ability to trace is. Roy's was honestly the least impressive to me at first, but thinking about it, his deductive skills are nothing to snuff at. He also came to his conclusions by himself, similar to Liko, who maybe didn't have the technical skills, but she did have sound reasoning, plus the awareness of what her moms bring to the table, even the secondary ones who got to participate this episode. A good episode overall. I think a catch would have made it great, but we could be in for one soon enough. One that genuinely seems to be toying with them a bit. So all in all, I give this one a high C.